If you've ever played a paladin and got kind of tired of the oath and wanted to just walk away from that, or if you ever just wanted to change oaths mid-campaign, this is the oath for you. Today we're talking about the Oathbreaker Paladin. Hey fellow Game Masters, I'm Richard Quiner, and welcome back to the RPG Daily, your daily dose of all things tabletop role-playing games, helping you build your world and master your game. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, remember to do that, and if you do like the video, also do that. Make sure you also check out my Instagram page for more content on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, and join the Discord server so we can just talk D&D pretty much all the time. That being said, let's talk about the Oathbreaker Paladin. This one is an interesting oath. It's really just defined as not having its previous oath. That's the whole shtick behind it. The thing I want to mention before we get into the details of this is the Oathbreaker Paladin is mentioned or introduced in the Dungeon Master Guide as an evil subclass. Similar to the Death Domain Cleric, you have the Oathbreaker Paladin. One of the stipulations in the DMG is that they have to be level 3 and they have to be an evil-aligned character. I disagree with this one wholeheartedly, strongly disagree with this decision, because really, an oath can be broken without making someone evil. There's so many different roleplay opportunities that can lead to someone becoming an oath breaker, and we're going to get more into details on that later, but I'm just saying, not all oath breakers are evil. They don't have to be evil characters. Let's get into the tenets of the Oathbreaker Paladin. As we all know, tenets are beliefs that every paladin who holds an oath holds in their heart. That's something they believe. The Oathbreakers' tenets are none. They no longer believe any of the tenets of their old oath, so they don't have any. That's kind of their defining factor. That's what makes them who they are, is this lack of beliefs. And I think that really is an interesting thing that plays into this type of oath. Now to talk about the things you really want to know, the oath spells. Everyone knows oath spells are similar to cleric spells and artificer spells. They are spells that you get at certain levels that are always prepared, and even if they come off of different spell lists, for you, the paladin, they are always considered paladin spells. Each oath has their own set of lists that we're going to cover here, but I'm not going to go into any details or any significant details about each spell. This is just a brief overview. At level 3 for the Oathbreaker, you're going to get Inflict Wounds and Hellish Rebuke. Inflict Wounds is a pretty simple melee spell attack that lets you deal 3d10 necrotic damage if you're successful. That's a lot of damage. At level 5, you're going to get the spells Crown of Madness and Darkness. We all know what Darkness is. It is what it sounds like, but Crown of Madness is an interesting charm spell that lets you charm a creature and then direct its attack on a target that you choose. The important thing to remember when you have a target under the effects of Crown of Madness, you really should remember to tell them who to hit, or else they're going to do what they normally would do as if they didn't have the Crown of Madness on them. At level 9, you're getting Animate Dead and Bestow Curse. Animate Dead lets you create an undead minion by raising a corpse or a skeleton from the dead, giving you either a zombie or a skeleton as kind of your thrall, your minion, so to speak. At level 13, you get Blight and Confusion. Confusion is a similar charm spell to Crown of Madness, except instead of you directing the creature, they have to act randomly. And on each of their turns, you roll a d10 on the table of confusion, and that determines what that creature will do for that turn. It could be anything from just running in a random direction, or it can let them have their turn as normal. It's really hit or miss. At level 17, you get Contagion and Dominate Person. Contagion is a poison spell, but it's a poison spell with extra benefits added onto it. At the start of the spell, the creature gets poisoned. They then have to make Constitution saving throws against that poison on each of their turns for the duration of the spell. If they fail 3 of these Constitution saving throws, or succeed at 3 of these Constitution saving throws, different things happen. If they succeed, the poison is out of their system and they're just fine, but if they fail 3 Constitution saving throws, that poison develops into a disease. There is a table of diseases in the spell, so it turns into one of those for the rest of the duration of the spell. Those are the Oathbreaker Paladin spells in a nutshell. Now let's get into the Channel Divinities. Yes, they broke their oaths, but they still have Channel Divinity abilities. The first one available to an Oathbreaker Paladin is the Control Undead ability. This one is actually pretty interesting and pretty powerful at higher levels. As an action, the paladin can choose an undead creature within 30 feet of it. That creature must make a wisdom saving throw, and if they fail, they are then under control of the paladin for the next 24 hours. Pretty straightforward, they just have to do what the paladin says. The stipulation on this, though, is that the creature cannot be a challenge rating higher than the paladin's level. So if the paladin is a level 5 and the creature has a challenge rating of 6, the spell or the ability won't work on that creature. But this also means at higher levels, 10, 15, 20, you'll be able to control an undead creature of a challenge rating 20 or lower. That's pretty powerful, especially since challenge ratings are designed to match with a 4-party group. So the idea of a challenge rating 1 zombie or something, a challenge rating 1 undead creature, is someone that's designed to fight against a party of 4 level 1 players. So you're able to dominate a creature that's significantly more powerful than the paladin themselves in Number World. The other channel divinity ability of this paladin is the Dreadful Aspect. Now this one just causes more fear, which seems to be a common theme among all the paladin oaths. They deal with fear. Cool. As an action, the paladin can choose creatures within 30 feet of it, any number of creatures. Those creatures must make a wisdom saving throw or be frightened of the paladin. When they're frightened, they can't intentionally move closer to the paladin. That's part of it. There's a couple other rules on frightened. You should look up the frightened condition or watch my conditioned videos. Either one is fine. So the trick on this one, though, is if the creature that is frightened of the paladin ends their turn more than 30 feet away from said paladin, they can repeat their saving throw and try to break the fear. At level 7, the Oathbreaker gets the Aura of Hate. This aura is a little different than other paladin auras because it's largely focused on an, quote, evil type of character. This Aura of Hate has an effect on the paladin themselves, of course, as well as any fiends or undead within a 10-foot radius of the paladin. What this does is give them a bonus to their damage rolls on their attacks equal to the paladin's charisma modifier. If, by some chance, there are multiple Oathbreaker paladins in the same grouping and all have this aura, this bonus to the melee attacks does not stack. That's something to keep in mind if that ever comes up. At level 15, the Oathbreaker gets Supernatural Resistance. This is a common resistance for higher level creatures. It is just resistance versus bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing damage made with non-magical weapons. At level 20, the capstone ability of the Oathbreaker is called Dreadlord. I think this makes the paladin a sad boy. That's my first impression of it. This works by creating an aura of gloom around the paladin, which has several effects that take place within this aura. This aura is activated as an action and has a 30-foot radius area from the paladin itself. This aura lasts for 1 minute, and here's all the things that it does. First up, any light, bright light that enters this aura is reduced to dim light, so it's kind of a shadowy aura. Any enemy creature that starts their turn within this aura automatically takes 4d10 psychic damage from the sadness of this paladin. And also the paladin on their turns may use these shadows to create even deeper shadows around themselves or other creatures, potentially allies, to help defend them against attacks. These deeper shadows cause any creatures that attack a creature with the shadow on them to roll their attacks with disadvantage. As if all that wasn't enough, there is still a little bit more that these paladins can do with their sadness aura. As a bonus action, the paladin may choose to use these shadows to create an attack on a creature. The paladin makes a melee spell attack roll, and if they succeed, they deal 3d10 plus their charisma modifier in necrotic damage to the creature. Of course, the creature has to be within that aura range, but 30-foot radius is a lot of space. This whole Dreadlord Gloomy Paladin ability is available once per long rest. Let's talk about some thoughts behind this Oathbreaker Paladin. I mentioned that I don't think this should be condemned as an evil class, just because they break their oath. I think there are a lot of things in life, just in real life, where certain traumatic events can cause a person to turn away from a long-held belief. We see it all the time with certain religious folks. They will grow up very religious in a devout situation, and then they will turn once they have kind of an eye-opening experience that makes them lose hold of those beliefs. It's not uncommon. That's why I say it doesn't mean those people are evil just because they break their oath and they no longer hold those tenets, just like I don't think it should make the paladin an evil character if they no longer hold the tenet of, for example, vengeance or a tenet of devotion as dearly as they could previously. I think it just means it's a change in a growing experience for that paladin, and they can move on with their life and take this different oath and walk this different path. Would I like this oath to be a little more nuanced and interesting, not so much about the undead? Yeah, I would. I think leaning into the undead is just like the Death Cleric, saying all evil things deal with necromancy and undead things, but, you know, that's really between you, the player, and your DM, how you want to play this oath, if you choose to play this oath. In terms of strategy as a player, looking at this, I would probably just lean into the necromancy. I don't want to ignore what's there written by the publishers, just because I personally don't think it's the right way to go with it, but that's just me. I would probably pick more spells that deal with necromancy and raising the dead for my personal use, and I would just get my little minion army running around, killing things with my aura of sadness, my aura of hate, and just make that really powerful. But all that, of course, is just my opinion. Let me know your opinion on the Oathbreaker Paladin in the comments below. I've been Richard. Thanks for watching.